thrilled to be chatting with Marley Tarbo from Flyhomes in our latest edition of How We Tackle People Stuff at Athena. I want to say, first and foremost, thank you so much for chatting with us. We're always eager to highlight our incredible customers, learn from their experiences, and share their stories with our wider community. And so I would love to kick it off just by Marley giving you the mic for a second and asking you to tell me just a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Marley Tarbo. I'm the VP of People and Culture here at Flyhomes, and our mission is to build the world's best buying and selling experience for home buyers. We do this by essentially creating one environment where everyone can get everything done, from choosing their real estate agent to finding their mortgage, as well as closing and everywhere kind of in between. We also have really phenomenal financial products like our cash offer and buy before you sell that sort of evens the playing field for just normal people out there trying to build a home and buy a home for their families.
I love that so much. And whenever I think about HR professionals in the industry, I always think about the interesting journeys that got us to where we are. Because I think, I can't speak for you, but like for myself, if I would have thought, 10 years ago, would I have known that I was going to be working at a compliance company? I don't know that the answer would have been yes. Not that I don't love it, but how could we have predicted? And so I'm curious to know, walk me through your journey a bit. How did you end up in this world? What has been your path within HR?
Yeah, I'd say I definitely had a very circuitous journey. Education-wise, I actually started in neuroscience. I had a plan to become a psychiatrist. Unfortunately, I found out way too late that med school was not going to be for me. I actually had this course in my last year at UCSB where we were performing surgeries on rats, and I fainted. So at that point, it was time for a pivot. So I was like, how can I figure out commingling my love for people and understanding how they work with my natural inclination towards business? So I kind of started on that journey. I've been in people and business operations across a variety of industries, from public service to tech, over the last 15 years. And my role actually before my current people role was a COO role. So more ops centric, but still had a people focus because, you wear multiple hats in the startup space. But yeah, now I'm here, and it's been the best space for me. I think it has everything that I've ever wanted.
That is amazing. And I have to be honest, truly, I think this is always my favorite question to ask of HR professionals. You get the wildest stories. Listen, I'm biased. Obviously, I have the most experience talking to other HR professionals, but I have just found that HR professionals truly have the most diverse set of backgrounds that led them ultimately into HR. That's just why I, like you, would never have been able to operate on rats. Are you kidding? I'm the kind of person, I find a spider and I'm like, here, little spider, let me help you out the window. I just could not imagine. Oh, that's just wild. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. In terms of today's call, I'd love to know, we're here together because you are an Athena customer, and, we've been so excited to learn more about you and your experience with us. How did you find out about Athena in the first place?
Yeah, so when I first came to Flyhomes, it was actually one of the first projects that we were sort of doing, right? We had to figure out how to get compliant before the end of the year. Um, and in previous roles in previous organizations, we did it the old-fashioned way, a more traditional way, where you just kind of buckle down for a couple hours in a given day and just knock out that training for the full organization. And then, of course, you just put that lesson away and it gets dusty and you do it again in a year. And we just didn't want to do it that way anymore. It just didn't seem right, because it's such an important topic. Anti-harassment and discrimination is important, should be top of mind all the time. So we we started a very lightweight like RFP process and started looking at different vendors, and Athena was just the cream of the crop, and we've been with you guys ever since.
Oh, I have to dig in there. When you call us the cream of the crop, first of all, my heart sings. Thank you so much. What a lovely compliment. And second, tell me a little bit more. What is it that makes Athena stand out against the rest?
Yeah, I'd say that it's extremely accessible and it's lightweight and something that's ongoing, right? So the fact that people didn't have to carve out a huge chunk of their time once a year, and instead they just got gentle nudges once a month to do a few minutes of interesting videos or listening. It made something that felt like a chore for most of our employees, something that uh, I don't want to say that was extremely enjoyable because it is compliance, but something that they weren't dreading or they didn't find as an annoyance. It was something that they were like, okay, this is at least a fun way of doing this. And we actually have received lots of compliments when we switched over because we're like, this is actually pretty cool. Like we enjoy this. It was something that we may actually experience because a lot of stuff's so outdated that it just doesn't even make sense to go through it.
I love that so much. And listen, I'm in HR too, so I get it, right? Compliance training is no employee's favorite part of employment, right? But to be able to make it relevant, to be able to make it not painful, those changes are significant, right? I can imagine even, I'm curious on the admin side, right? So like on the effectiveness side, that is great. Like what I heard was, hey, I can maybe actually use this because it's relevant, right? These are actual experiences that I might experience and might need to act on. And on the admin side, I just imagine the difference it must make for you to have an employee give you a compliment on a compliance training versus groaning and complaining about it. Tell me a little bit more about that. Like, what's been the difference been for your team?
Yeah, it's so much easier to kind of just sign into the hub and see all of the green of people completing things on time without even needing to, be poked and prodded to complete it. And I'd say that our completion rate is probably much higher, especially without the need to poke and pry it out of their hands to answer. Um, but yeah, overall, it's just been a really, really incredible experience. The user experience is wonderful, and it's so easy to stay on top of what everyone is doing and where they're at in their compliance journey as well.
I love that so much. Thank you very much for sharing. Speaking of which, I actually heard that you all rolled out a few very thoughtful internal communications around your latest round of Athena trainings. I'd love if you could talk to me a little bit more about that. What's been your communication process in terms of, letting employees know, hey, we've got a new training out, or hey, it's time to take your training?
Yeah, we've primarily done just the emails that kind of come with, and we've also shared on Slack and at our town halls, especially at the start of a year when we want everyone to kind of start off on the right foot. And then there's continuous communications throughout the year as well. In case someone is falling behind, they get a notice. But again, like I said before, we're pretty on top of it this this time around.
I love that a ton, especially hearing, if I heard you correctly before, you all leverage continuous learning. So those smaller nudges throughout the year. So it just keeps it more relevant and fewer communications for you to even have to do because they are getting those reminders through the system automatically. That's amazing. Um, let's talk customer service. I don't know about you, but whenever I'm with a vendor, they could have state of the art, just top of the line, everything. But if a problem happens or if I need help and their customer success team is unable to help me, or I get redirected 5 times, or every time I call in, I get a different answer, it just negatively impacts the entire experience. I'm curious to know, what has your experience with Athena's customer success team been?
Yeah, your guys' team has been extremely proactive. I'd say that there's there's more times that you guys reach out about either new things that are coming down the pike that we should be aware of, whether in the just the compliance space or new tooling that you guys have, just reaching out to just talk once a month to see how things are going. It's a night and day experience with Athena versus some of our vendors where we don't hear from them after we sign the contract.
What a shame too, because I have to say, part of the what I love about having a good customer success team is that thought partnership, knowing that I can trust that they're going to reach out, they're going to remind me, they're going to let me know if something new is coming out. It's great, great, great to hear that we're able to do that for you all at Athena. And, maybe other vendors will catch up eventually. We'll see. We'll see. So one thing I hear about a ton, whether it's talking to prospective customers or just talking to other people in the HR space, is the importance of integrations, in particular, because if you can't have the integrations that you need, everything's just going to be so much more manual. Everything's going to take so much more time. I understand that you all are leveraging our UKG integration. How exactly are you leveraging that and how's it going?
Yeah, it's going great. So, how we essentially utilize it is when a new employee starts with us and they're onboarded, that information feeds from UKG into Athena and already pre populates most of their information. And then, of course, gets them started on their compliance journey right away versus us having to, manually add and then get them started.
I love that so much. And how long did it take you all to get up and running with the integration?
Um, I'm not very certain. It was a couple of years back, but it had to have been quick because I didn't hear any complaints from my team.
Isn't that so funny? I think that is a very common sort of thread or theme within HR. No news is good news. Fewer complaints means it went super well. So super, super thrilled to hear that. Marley, before we end the interview, I have one last question for you. I'm super, super excited to ask this one because I think it's a really interesting one. There are so many compliance vendors out there that you could be going with, but you've been with Athena for the last 3 years and you continue to renew with us each year. And we are so thankful and happy about it. My question to you is, what keeps you renewing with Athena every year?
Yeah, I'd have to say that it's so much of what we've already discussed. Like your team is extremely proactive. Um, we trust you guys, which is probably the most important thing. Like we know that you guys are keeping up to date. We know that any new thing coming down the line, you guys will have and tell us about it before we even know that it is something that we need to be focused on. And then, of course, from our employee perspective, it's a more enjoyable, lightweight experience that is relevant. So why look for another partner when things are going well?
I think that's so critical, to be honest, that the fact that it's lightweight, the fact that it's not adding to your load, but making your life easier. And that trust factor is so important to have with a vendor. It's a lot, it's a lot of time that could go into, a partnership if that vendor isn't working effectively. And so to know that we've got that partnership, that trust, and that we can make your lives easier, that just makes me so happy. Well, Marley, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate having this chat with you. Happy to continue the partnership for many years to come.
I'm hoping so. Thank you, Melanie, for having me.
Thank you, Marley.